Okay, I've been putting this off for far too long now, and for the few of you that watched this series and patiently waited for me to finish it up, I really appreciate your patience. For those of you who are just here to get a final take on this debate, I highly suggest that before you watch this, you get caught up with the rest of the series. Now, I've had these bikes for a lot longer than originally intended, and so I have a really good sample size to draw experience from. And so I can say at this point that my findings are pretty well researched. Now, if you're one of the few who've watched this series, you know originally that the plan was to test these two bikes out and make a decision as to which bike I would keep to race this season. As for the bike that wasn't chosen, well, the other one was going to be sold, because according to my CFO, we can't afford to keep both. The channel already operates at a huge loss. And speaking of which, it's tax time, and I am horrible about keeping the books. Carol in accounting is really pissed. And Carol should be. She's not only my accountant, she's my chief financial officer, my assistant camera operator, my customer service rep, my biggest fan, and most importantly, well, she's my wife. I never planned to piss her off, but things never go as planned. And so here we are, with both bikes still in the stable. So bottom line, you want to know which bike is better. But let me ask you this. Who could say that? Who would you really trust to tell you which is better? Joe on YouTube? Maybe Kyle from the Dirt Bike channel? Shade Tree Surgeon or Everride or any of the other YouTube personalities out there? Maybe a celebrity or a racer? I say there's only one person who could possibly have that answer. And surprise, that person is you. Now I can't help but think that there's more than a few of you who probably think that that's a cop-out answer. But it's the truth. And the two-stroke versus four-stroke debate seems to me like more identity politics, which we really just don't need. Hell, I bet a good percentage of you already have your mind made up. You might just be watching to see if I agree with you. And if I disagree with you, well, that's no skin off your back, because it's just the uninformed opinion of Joe Nobody on YouTube. But for those of you who really want my opinion, I can tell you definitively that two-strokes are not better than four-strokes. And that four-strokes, well, they're just not as good as two-strokes.
What did you say? That doesn't make sense.
Okay, that's confusing, isn't it? Good, because that's how I feel too. Truth, guys, being totally honest and without bias, I can't make up my mind. There's so much to love about these bikes. And as far as gripes go, there's plenty of those as well. Now early on, I felt this was going to be an easy decision. After owning the 500 EXC, four-strokes was what I was used to riding. I recognized that my familiarity with four-strokes might make it unfair, and I felt like maybe I needed to give the two-stroke a better chance. I mean, I was really concerned that I was writing it off because I was just more comfortable with what I already got used to. So I did everything I could to make sure that that two-stroke was running right and I was getting plenty of seat time on it. Even though deep down I believed I was wasting time and money on the two-stroke. After a lot of maintenance and a lot of seat time, and a whole lot of frustration with the carburetor, I essentially made up my mind to race the four-stroke. In fact, I said it would take a miracle for the two-stroke to win at this point. At this point, honestly, I think it's going to take a miracle for the KTM 300 XC to win this battle. It wouldn't be until that fateful crash in Test 1 of the first race of the season, and the inevitable long wait for the four-stroke to get repaired, that I would truly be forced to get the two-stroke into ship shape, or I would have had to forfeit a few races this season. Being faced with competing on the two-stroke, well, I took getting it running right much more seriously. One more thing that's going to get me in trouble. I I ended up riding the two-stroke in rounds 2 and 3 of the Arizona Off-Road State Championship Series while I waited for the Husky to get back. And I gotta tell you, I was honestly impressed. It was fast and it felt easy to ride. What I found most surprising was how quickly I could start it and get going. I was actually shocked to be off the line so fast the first time I raced it. I forgot to shift and I ended up losing the whole shot. In the next round, it was just as reliable and fun to ride.
Hey Joseph, this is Ron, Cycle Skis and ATVs. Want to call and know your bike is ready for pickup. Any questions, give us a call. 520-747-8339. Hey, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
By Christmas, the Husky was back, and once again, I felt faster and much more comfortable on it. And the lap times proved it. In fact, I won my first race ever on the 4-stroke. And you would think, well, that should be it, right? The 4-stroke is the obvious winner. But now there's another variable, and that variable is wear and tear. While I do love the 4-stroke and I'm faster on it, it is having some issues way too early compared to my previous bike. For example, that 500 EXC ran strong all the way up until the day that I sold it with over 300 hours on it and never needed a valve adjustment. But this bike? Well, for one, it always seems to have difficulty starting, and then it flames out when you throw it in gear. And even with the Recluse, it'll flame out a lot until it's at a high operating temperature. The Recluse seems to always need an adjustment, and with only 50 hours, the Husky may be in need of a top end already. At the very least, I think it's in need of a valve adjustment. And with the design of this engine, it's much more complicated than it was with the 500. Now the 2-stroke, it has its problems as well, but at a fraction of the cost to repair them. And I feel that if I had a few more months racing that 2-stroke, maybe I would be just as fast on the 2-stroke as I am on the 4-stroke. Bottom line is that they're both great at times, and they're both headaches at times. Overall, either bike would be an excellent choice, and I guarantee that even taking those headaches into account, I love both of them, and so would you. So now I feel like some mother who's forced to pick between her children, which one she wants to let go, and which one she wants to keep. Well, for me, it comes down to finances. I have more money tied up in the Husky, and it would be a huge loss with depreciation to get rid of it now. With the 300 2-stroke, I can actually get pretty close to what I paid because 2-strokes hold their value longer, and I'm in no hurry to sell it, so I can handle waiting till my price is met. So really that's all there is to it. The 300 is now up for sale and I'm going to be keeping the Husky. And I gotta tell you that if you're looking for a dirt bike, you couldn't go wrong with either one, 2-stroke or 4-stroke, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, the only loser in the 2-stroke versus 4-stroke debate is the guy who doesn't have either one. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. May not be right for you, may not be right for some. When a man is born, he's a man of means. Then along come the two, they have nothing but their dreams. But they got different strokes it takes, different strokes it takes, different strokes for the world. Everybody's got their special kind of story. Everybody find a way to shine. It don't matter what you got, neither like, well, so what? They'll have theirs and you have yours and I'll have mine. And together we'll be fine. It takes different strokes for the world. Yes, it does. It takes different strokes for the world.